So good to see him having a really nice tournament. Again, he did top 8 Grand Prix Seattle-Tacoma a little while back. I think it was 2 years ago, back in 2012 when that was. And Brad Rutherford, well, he's the guy that lends me cards for decks. So.
Yeah, no favoritism here.
Not at all. Go Brad. So I can keep borrowing cards. No, it should be fun. These guys are pretty familiar with each other. And we will watch them do battle here. Sneak and Show versus Charlotte's Bug. James is going to start right away with the Thoughtseize.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an important element of disruption. The Charlotte's Bug deck doesn't have nearly as much interaction as some bug decks. He has access to 3 Force of Wills, 3 Thoughtseize, and 1 Hymn to Turok.
That's not a lot.
That's not as much. That's continuing to shave. You know, that's like just trimming and trimming and trimming the disruption. Now, the good news, of course, is that he has quite a selection of anti-combo cards in his sideboard. But game 1, he is equipped to fight the blue creature decks like Delver and Stoneblade.
So right now, I think James is probably deciding between Sneak Attack or Ponder. I think, you know, I can take your manipulation spell, or I can take your awesome card, and then you can manipulate back into an awesome card.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hand that's literally a little bit of everything. It has 1 piece of interaction, 1 piece of acceleration, a couple land, 1 sneak attack, 1 Grizzlebrand to win with, and 1 library manipulation spell to try to find whatever it is you take.
I feel like you're just supposed to take the card, like, Sneak Attack is, you know, the card that allows you to go off. Like, that's piece 1 of the combo. Yeah, okay.
See? See, that's why you always take the Ponder. That's why you always take the Ponder or the Brainstorm or whatever. You take the library manipulation card, because let's be serious.
Sneak Attack, the draw right away there for Brad. He's going to play an island, and now he does get to ponder here.
Well, Cedric, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I don't think so, no. I'm thinking about ice cream. You don't like ice cream.
I was going to say, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, where are we going to find, you know, an ice cream sundae our size?
I know a guy.
Yeah.
Looks like, wow, show and tell found here, too. If you're ever curious about how powerful this deck is, it's never really been in question. It's completely absurd and really, really good. I think you may have found a Force of Will. There's a Lotus Petal.
Yeah, the sneak attack deck is not the least resilient of the fast combo decks. A lot of library manipulation, a lot of interaction, a lot of extra pieces of whatever it needs. Doesn't even really need all that much. Can kind of just hang out and eventually put together a couple cards and do something completely degenerate.
Mr. Rainforest getting sacrificed here by Nguyen. He'll go a digging. We'll see what dual land he wants to find. No wastelands to be scared of here.
I think Sneak and Show would be a real problem if there was a Legacy Pro Tour.
Yeah, probably.
I think it would be a real problem in a different world where Legacy was pushed to the extreme again.
Hopefully that world comes soon.
Hope not.
I hope so. I love Legacy.
I love Legacy too. That's why I hope not.
Here's a Tarmogoyf. Show and tell the draw here for Brad. Gonna
It's the same thing with Vintage. I love Vintage enough to not want there to be a Vintage Pro Tour.
I want there to be a Vintage Pro Tour really bad.
That would be the end of it.
I want to see the Masters playing Storm and Delver decks. And shops and everything else. I think it'd be very entertaining.
You gotta be careful. It's stuff like that that's why we don't even get to play 4 Brainstorms in Vintage anymore.
But it's for my entertainment. I'm not saying we should do it. I think it'd be great to watch.
If you just had 24 hours to live, that's how you'd want to spend it. You know.
I just want to watch the best Vintage players just go to battle.
Who do you think are the best Vintage players in the world these days?
I mean, I have to say Brian DeMars.
Yeah?
Yeah, his knowledge of Vintage is just incredible.
As soon as the Vintage community is ready,
yeah, we
can set it up. I got a squad. My squad doesn't necessarily have the most Vintage accolades. We've got a couple Type 1, you know, we've got a Type 1 world champion, a Vintage world champion. We've got a couple things like that, but my squad's mostly just Owen Turtenwald, Luis Scott Vargas, David Ochoa, Eric Froelich, David Williams.
I know the big guns love Vintage. No, yeah, Dave plays Vintage quite a bit. I think so does Efro.
Yeah, I didn't pick my squad at random. Yeah. And maybe give me Reed Duke to round us out.
Oh, sure.
You know?
2 Tarmogoyfs down here. There's a Baleful Strix staring off at a Grizzlebrand.
This is what I love. Just Grizzlebrand, here he is. But I think Grizzlebrand's going to be able to make some pretty good progress as soon as Brad gets to untap so that he can, you know, I don't know, draw a quick 21 cards or whatever. The tough thing here is that Nguyen doesn't really have any profitable attacks, right?
No, I mean, he can't get in there at all. The
Right.
timer goes for 4-5s. Baleful Strix obviously is trying to hold Gristlebrand back on defense, excuse me. So
Now,
there are certainly
how many-
no profitable attacks.
How many ways does Brad actually have to deal with the Strix in this spot?
To get Strix off the board, main deck, 0. I take that back. I want to make sure he has Jace or not, the Mind Sculptor.
He does have 2 Jaces, I believe.
But see, the thing is, I don't think he needs to get Baleful Strix off the board. I think he activates Gristlebrand, takes some damage. You know, he's got a sneak attack in his hand. He's looking for a double land. He's able to find a double land.
He does have a double land.
Yeah, he drew one off of Gristlebrand. He plays Ancient Tomb. He plays a Lotus Petal in his hand. He can play sneak attack and then activate it, put Emrakul into play, and attack for 22, and a little Annihilator action as well.
Do you think he might just show and tell down the sneak attack?
I don't think that's necessary.
All right.
I think you can just do it this way. He takes 2 to do it. He goes down to 9. He puts sneak attack in. You activate it. Now here's the thing. Nguyen can survive this turn. So here's an attack and here's an Annihilator trigger. So he's going to lose those 6.
But the Strix does jump in front of the Grizzlebrand.
Correct. So the
Now,
question,
Brad does get 7 more cards on the way out, though, right?
yes, he can.
Why not?
Because he's at 9, so he can go up to 2. He goes down to 2 and then back up to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I would. I would. You're not going to die, so.
Oh, he decides he'll just go up to 16. Who
Okay.
cares? I guess he's already just got it in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, if he has Emrakul in his hand, it doesn't matter. I think, okay, yeah, I caught a glimpse of an Emrakul in the hand, so this is going to go away. Going to shuffle all this stuff up, and I imagine that Brad will show James a copy of Emrakul in just a moment. James is going to play and suspend an Ancestral.
I like it. We got a long-term plan.
If it comes to that.
I have to die on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whittle pass the turn back. Brad's
You
going to draw a
remind
card.
me of an up. Keep trigger.
Yeah, there's Emrakul.
All right. We're going to go to game 2.
We certainly are.
let's
Brad
take a look at
Rutherford's
Brad.
going to win game number 1 over James Nguyen. Sneak and Show does take down Charlotte Spug in game 1. We'll take a look at the sideboards in just a moment. We're going to come back here for trivia.
Oh, yeah.
6 months is what we're giving away. Patrick will explain the rules, and I will have a real doozy of a question.
I like that. So the rules are this. Cedric is going to give you his doozy of a question. Then you tweet back at us at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium, your answer to be entered for a random chance to possibly win 6 months of premium and get paid. As a note, this is at our sole discretion because we do dope stuff.
Yes, we do.
And this is not affiliated with Twitch because they let us do dope stuff, but they don't even know we're doing this.
That's true.
Mostly.
That's true.
So that's where it's at.
So here's the question. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. There were 2 preview cards today.
That we just saw?
That we just saw. And there's Garrick Apex Predator, and there's another one. That's a black enchantment whose name I don't remember.
Yeah.
However, there was a third one.
Oh, yeah?
Necromancer Stockpile.
That's not the third one. That's the second one.
That's the second one.
Right.
The third one
Yeah?
is the question. What is the third card that was spoiled on the select side of Star City Games by
Ari
Ari
Lax's
Lax
article?
today? Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
And if you can name that card that Ari Lax got to write about today on the select side of Star City Games, hashtag your answer, the hashtag of SCG Premium. Make sure you're following SCG Live, and of course we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round for those 6 months.
I predict this one will be in tournament decks.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be a hit in Modern.
Yeah, probably. Even
Yeah?
Standard, too.
Oh,
I think it's Standard,
probably.
too. I'm looking forward to
pretty
seeing this
good.
one. We're going to head back to the match. We'll take a look at our sideboards here. We will start with James Nguyen, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Nile Spellbomb, a Sower of Temptation, a Leyline of the Void, a Disfigure, a Flusterstorm, a Force of Will, a Gary Charm, a Umazawa Shite, 2 Hypnotorak, a Massacre, and a Caracas. I think the easiest one to board in is, of course, Sower of Temptation to trump a a Show and Tell.
Oh, see, I thought Caracas was the easiest one to board in.
All right, fair enough. Fair
Caracas
enough.
is like a land that just devastates. But he's also going to want Golgari Charm. He's going to want Force of Will. He's going to want Flusterstorm. Sower of Temptation and Caracas, obviously. I think he's also going to want the Hymn to Tarax. He's got a lot of great options. His main deck, not super well set up for this matchup, but after sideboarding, he'll be in much better shape. On Brad Rutherford's side of the table, however, we're looking at 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Blood Moons, 1 Echoing Truth, 2 Swan Song, 1 Through the Breach, 1 Jace the Mind Sculptor is better than all, 3 Pyroclasm, 2 Beseju, who shelters all. All the stuff that Jace is better than.
I like Blood Moon a lot against Charlotte's Bug for pretty
Oh
obvious
my
reasons.
God, Blood Moon is ridiculous.
think the word was that you held back a bonkers, I think. I'm not sure.
It was a bonk-riculous.
There's one basic in James' deck, which is actually a lot for Charlotte's, but given that there's oftentimes 0, there's just one swap hanging out in this deck.
But that's how you cast the Death Ray Shaman, so you can claw back into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like the 2 Blood Moons. Pithingneel's like fine, it's whatever. I don't really care too much about that.
Being able to hit Jace or Liliana is not trivial.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's not
don't
bad.
want to name Jace, obviously, because you want your own Jaces, but...
Maybe you want Through the Breach for a redundant effect. Maybe you want Swan Song. The one thing I don't think you want is Besage You, because I don't think this is about counterspells on James' side.
Yeah.
James is going to try to attack your hand and then finish you off before you're able to reassemble.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want to get stuck in a situation where you actually are taking extra damage just to cast your random spells. James' deck is capable of putting together a not insignificant amount of aggression.
So game number 2 will begin here in a moment for you guys. Again, when we do have an update on our other match, and I didn't expect to have one just yet between Miracles and Blue Red Delver, it is still in game number 1. You have to imagine that does favor Michael, as those 2 players do grind things out, but Blue Red Delver versus Miracles does take some time, and we'll, of course, have plenty of time to head that way after this match.
Absolutely. The fact that the match is still going on is some amount of evidence that Miracles is doing all right.
Yeah, probably doing just fine, I imagine. We'll see if Miracles makes the finals again. Miracles has been doing really well, like making the finals, just not winning tournaments. That's been the tough part for it. And it has been doing battle against Blue Red Delver quite a bit. We saw that within the Season 2 Invitational. On the Legacy Open, Brian Brondewin did take down Jacob Wilson when Wilson was playing Blue Red Delver, but then was dispatched by Rich Shea playing Bug Delver. So Miracles definitely has a pedigree of making top 8s, but has a little bit of difficulty closing. Looks like Brad turned over a card there on accident, but did not look at the Creeping Tar Pit. So James will fix that. Brad will continue to reshuffle here.
Yeah, both players obviously have each other's deck lists, but there is some amount of, potential question given not knowing what's in people's sideboard plans or whatever. But these players know each other, and they're moving on without too much incident.
Yeah, looks like we're A-okay. James will be on the play here. Did lose game number 1 pretty quickly. We'll see if he can find some hymns and find a way to shred Brad's hand. Way back when, it seems like a while ago, and basically like last year, Sneak and Show decks used to play Leyline and Sanctity in the sideboard to be better against hymns.
Yeah,
but they don't have
Thoughtseize
and those discard effects, but they don't have that card anymore. They've changed their game plans. That actually means that, these hymns and other discard effects that Nguyen has access to actually be good instead of dead cards if Rutherford were able to find a Leyline and Sanctity. You see Nguyen's going to take a mulligan here. Of course, next weekend on the Open Series, we're going to be in Worcester, Massachusetts. Myself and Patrick Sullivan will be back at it on the East Coast. Patrick enjoying his stay in Bend, Oregon this weekend.
Yeah.
Vacationing.
Yeah.
Couldn't find some time to maybe drive out here and play a burn deck.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's a time and a place. This was not the weekend for Burn.
Yeah,
all sights were set on beating Burn.
Yeah, definitely not the right weekend. Well, peace out. I hope you enjoyed your weekend off and be prepared to work 7 weeks in a row. So, I don't feel bad for you one bit. Not
7 weeks in a row?
Yeah. Dude, I'm on week 5 right now, I think.
You got a real tough life.
5 of 11. I love it. Are you kidding?
Yeah, well, it was a sarcastic.
Yeah. I watch Magic.
Yeah, I know.
love it. Huh? There we go. Creeping Tar Pit.
All right.
I think this is week
And
5.
there is the
week 5, week
Besages.
6.
That is the Besages.
He brought him in?
He did. Sometimes you got to just bust a rhymes and switch it on him.
I'm a little surprised. I mean, it can end up being like really good, and maybe Brad just.
You think it's really good mostly when you make your spells uncounterable, and
yes.
Are those the situations where it's better?
That's one of the better ones, yeah. Again, I don't think it's about counterspells, even though James does have 3 copies of Force of Will in his deck, and I think he has 1 in his hand right now, so this could be a game where Bestige You does line up appropriately. As here's a Brainstorm.
Both players are just going to be stockpiling the resources a little bit. When obviously his ideal is to get down a little bit of pressure and then be able to trade resources, but being that he's already on a mulligan, he's working from a little bit of a disadvantage.
The tough thing too is that Windows' opponent has Blood Moon in the sideboard.
Yep.
So you also just want to like get moving on what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Because you do not want to get Blood Mooned. Yeah.
No. Nobody wants to be Blood Mooned. Patrick Sullivan does.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Suppose he doesn't mind. Here's a Brainstorm. So 3 cards coming. 2 and 3. Another forcible, I think, for James. So
Be interested to see who are the top 8 most prolific red mages. Because there's been a bunch of people over the years who have been well known for being red mage aficionados. Dave Price, obviously. Dan Paskins, obviously. I think Adrian Sullivan, some would say, although he's done enough in other areas that it's unclear if he's so well known for being a red mage. I
don't want to throw like. So Shuhei lost in the finals of Pro Tour Columbus playing red deck wins.
Yeah?
But I don't know if he's ever played red decks besides that.
Yeah, I don't think he's super well known for it. I think
Yeah.
Shuhei's just played more Magic tournaments than everybody else in the world. So he's, over the course of time, played some amount of red
At
decks.
some point, it was appropriate to play red, and he found that time.
Yeah. You know who played more red decks, though? Tsuyoshi Fujita. Tsuyoshi Fujita has played his fair share of more than his fair share of red decks. The first Japanese Hall of Famer from a number of years ago. And just one of the most prolific deck builders of all time.
Yeah, no, fantastic one. Here's a Tarmogoyf.
Best known for inventing the 11 fetch land mana base. You know, where you just play with like 5 or 6 land you can actually get in 11 fetch lands?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's like a legacy staple.
Yeah, he invented that. You know, that didn't used to just be the normal thing. People used to want to play as many fetch lands as they had lands to get. They're like, oh, play half and half so that I can go get as many as I go get, whatever.
Oh, sure, just play more fetches. And
Yeah, he invented playing twice as many fetches as targets.
What's it like to be so smart? I want to know.
I mean, Tsuyoshi pulls it off in stride and makes it look easy.
Beseiju, coming in. Now here's a needle.
It's funny to me how many different pieces of Magic technology people take for granted and forget that there was a time before that.
Yeah.
You know, like people
weren't
used to
doing those
not
things.
think Brainstorm was very good, even though thawing glaciers was legal.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Comer invented playing these really low cantrip-based mana bases, you know?
Turbo Xerox, was it called?
Yeah, that was the original one. That 17-land blue deck that relied on things like Portent and Foreshadow in order to be able to actually find its mana.
Ugh.
Impulse.
We have it so much better now.
So that Pie the Needle is on Liliana of the Veil.
That's not much of a surprise, I don't think.
It was between that or Liliana Vess, but he went with the cheaper one that his opponent has more copies of.
James does take a draw here. You see that the Tarmogoyf is a 2-3. It looks like maybe Jace? Oh, better than all.
The combination, okay, so the Spell Pierce beating the Jace I think was really important here because Nguyen's Black Border dual lands versus Rutherford's White Border dual lands was such a tremendous psychological edge that I think that if Nguyen also had a Jace the Mind Sculptor,
It'd just be too much.
yeah, it would just be snowballing out of control.
Yeah, it'd just simply be too much to take. Oh, there's also a Guru Swamp.
Yeah, our spot on the floor has clarified that swamp is in fact a Guru Swamp. The pimpest of all the cards in play.
4 mana here. Rutherford's
Is it
going to
sneak
take
attack?
2. Yeah, I think it
Or
is.
Jace of his own. It is sneak attack.
Is it time to have a fight over this? Does Nguyen have anything to stop this? Beseiju? No, not enchantments, my friend. Certainly worth taking a look, and we'll do the same, of course. Take the one who shelters all of this non-basic land cycle from Kamagama block. One of my actual favorites.
So the nice thing is that Nguyen can actually just Golgari Charm the sneak attack and Force the Will the counter magic there.
Yeah.
But he Force the Will's here because why risk there being a Lotus Petal? Smart.
That's definitely safer.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the Tarmogoyf beatdown is very real.
I think Tarmogoyf's just grown a little bit because there's an enchantment, yeah.
So we're actually looking at a 2-turn clock if he wants to shove and attack with his Creeping Tar Pit, leaving himself vulnerable. What do you think? Do you chance it?
If it's a 2-turner, I chance it.
It's literally a 2-turner.
I chance it.
You gotta tap out. You gotta tap
Whatever.
out. If you do, it is a 2-turn clock.
I think his hand is forceful plus blue card right now, too. I think his hand is force and Jace, and if that's the case, like, I just want to make it a 2-turner and go for it. Maybe as a discard spell, he's going to cast a Brainstorm. So we're going to get a little deeper into the deck here.
If it is the case that it's Force and Jace, this game is about to make him...
Don't give away samples of the new CD.
That's how it is. You drop the single beforehand.
No.
It's like Dr. Dre's album Detox. You just you drop the singles a little bit before the album comes out, just a little bit before.
Piece by piece.
Yeah, piece by piece. Make them, hungry for it.
James Lamb was pretty good that turn.
Shout out to Dr. Dre. Detox 2037 coming in 23 years.
Yeah, enjoy your hot cocoa with the rest of the rappers you're with.
He's not there.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Dre is currently playing with his grandchildren.
Sure. Caracas was the land that was played as Neil Henley is up a game over Michael Suarez. That means Blue Red Delver, even though we had a long game one, was able to take that one down. Michael, I wonder what happened there. Must have been a close one.
Yeah, quite the epic struggle between the blue-white-red decks.
Brad Rutherford gonna play a mountain here. Yes, he will.
He is very much under the gun here. Next turn will be his last, but he does have sneak attack and Emrakul. He just doesn't have a way to protect it.
And he's gonna have to pay 2 and go down to 7.
Which is brutal because it leaves him dead on board if this doesn't work.
Here's sneak attack, and he's hoping that this does work. And I think this is a situation where James doesn't actually have to make a move because Caracas is in play.
Yep.
So feel free to sneak whatever you'd like in. And Rat says, yeah, just go.
Yeah.
And now James can just G-Charm this if he wants, assuming that's the card that's in his hand. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Says, all right, here, kill that, and that's going to get that, and that's going to take down the game. James Nguyen going to win game number 2 here over Brad Rutherford. Charlotte's Bug ties it up over Sneak and Show. Brad's going to go back to the drawing board, it looks like, and I imagine James will analyze some things before we do get ready for game number 3 of this match. Winner, of course, will play the winner of Blue-White-Red Delver and Blue-White-Red Miracles.
Yeah. Any Court of Callings in that elf deck from earlier in the top 8?
I don't think so.
We didn't actually get a chance to check him out on camera at all. Or Glimpse of Natures, or I mean, sorry, Green Sun Zeniths?
Zenith, I have to imagine, was in there. That card's just too good not to be. I'm telling you, unban that card in Modern. Unban it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, let's not do that.
It's
I suppose, is part of your proposal banning the Arbor Dryad?
No, Dryad Arbor's fine. Just let the green decks be good.
Let the green decks be good?
Yeah.
Which decks do you think are good right now? Have you played Modern recently?
Yeah.
You don't think Birthing Pod's pretty good?
That's not really a green deck.
And you want to just put Green Sun Zenith in? The hell are you even doing? This is crazy.
I think it's fine. Let the green decks be good. Come on. There'll be different green decks. We'll have Night of the Reliquary green decks now. You know?
Night of the Reliquary is good now.
That's fine. Have you played Modern? It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I've played Modern. I played at the last Modern Pro Tour.
Well, must be nice, Mr. Big Shot. Mr. Hall of Famer.
It's pretty
You
sweet.
get to play in all these sweet tournaments.
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty great, but like Green Sun Zenith is wildly inappropriate, man.
I think of all the cards that are better in Modern, I think that one's the most okay to bring back.
Dude, yeah, here's my plan. Unban Green Sun Zenith
Okay.
and Jace the Mind Sculptor
Yep.
and Preordain.
Yeah. Yep.
Ban Serum Visions.
Okay, just because it's defensive for how bad it is.
Ban Gataxian Probe. Ban Past in Flames. Ban Manamorphose. It's actually Manamorphose is the real problem in the Storm deck. But
Why can't it just be the Storm cards that are the problem?
ban Deceiver Exarch. Ban Kiki Jiki. Ban
Pestilence-
Splinter Twin.
Pestilence legal?
Ban banning Kiki Jiki, Splinter Twin, and Restoration Angel. And no, you know what? Just Kiki Jiki and Splinter Twin. Ban Dark Confidant. Ban.
What are we playing, like Grizzly Bears?
Let's see. We're gonna need
What are
to.
we doing here? You
Dude,
want to
you're-
research as like Kifkin or something? Like,
I don't think Kifkin is what people would play in this format, man. I don't think it is. I wouldn't mind if they banned every creature that's not a Kifkin, though. 'Cause then, I mean, just unban Jace and ban every creature that's not a Kifkin. Figure Destiny would be legal.
Figure Destiny is legal.
Mutavault would be legal.
It is legal already. I can play it right now if I want. And sometimes I do on a secret Magic Online account.
You know what I'd like to see sometime? A Modern Pro Tour that's Highlander.
No.
Just one time. Dude, that would be so fun. A Highlander Modern Pro Tour. Tweet at us. Give us a little early scouting tip. If any
There
of you
you
guys
go.
have played Highlander Modern or have given it some thought, let us know what you'd play in Highlander Modern at SCG Live. I'd use the hashtag SCG Premium just to mess with Cedric.
There you go. That's good. That's good. You're going to pay for this down the road. I want you to know that. One of our trivia questions in a couple weeks is going to be about you, and they have to use your Twitter handle.
You have used me as the answer to
Yeah.
a trivia question 3 times in the last 3 months.
That's right, we have. We're going to blow up your Twitter. Brad
should just make a bot. There should just be a bot that just answers, you know, my name, Kibler's name, Sam's name, Ari's name, Brad's name, Jerry's name. Just answers all their names every week just to see if it wins.
Gotta shuffle with the ponder here. You're telling people a way to beat the trivia game, Patrick. We don't appreciate
The trivia
that.
game can be beaten.
We don't. You don't
It's like
appreciate
Vegas. It can
Yeah,
be beaten.
they're going out of business really soon. I was there last week and I actually shut down the Bellagio.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, I sure did.
I lived about a block and a half from a casino in Detroit, the Greektown Casino, that actually was going through bankruptcy when I was living there. Only Detroit could have a casino going through bankruptcy.
It's tough times. They're getting beat. Mr. Rainforest, James is going to sacrifice search for land very quickly. Look like it's going to be an underground sea. Death Rider discard. It's going to be Death Rights. So we'll see if Brad has anything sweet to do on turn 2. We know this deck is explosive. He just drew a show and tell off the top.
Holy show and tell.
This is Mountain.
That's a respectable couple of basic land right there.
A lot of people hate Mountain in this deck.
I just meant that it's from the beta.
I mean, that's fine if you like the artwork. I don't think, no, Patrick likes Arabian Nights Mountain, so he doesn't care.
He just wants to get blown out by City in a Bottle.
They changed it. They errated that. That's not a thing anymore.
No, I don't care. If you're going to show up with City in a Bottle, vulnerable lands, you deserve it.
Looks like Wynn drew a Shardless Agent for the turn, so
You
he's
got
gonna
to just play it as it lay.
Yeah, that's it. See what
Dude,
Larry
I
wants
remember
search.
having to play the ugly Serendipity instead of the gorgeous one, just because of City in a Bottle, like having to be better against City in a Bottle. It was so heartbreaking.
Back in like 1922.
Yes, in 1922, when I used to play with Serendipity before we had nice things like Night Veil Spectre.
Shardless Agent, it's time to cascade. What do we find?
Serendipity was almost reprinted in Time Spiral, you know that?
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
they had it in the file for a while, and then they ended up, that's why they reprinted Sonic Blast. They were going to use Serendipity for a little while, but they ended up breaking the other way on it.
Hypnotorac going to be cast here by James off the cascade. It's going to be a brainstorm response by Brad, so he's going to hide some things, and then looks like probably discard 2 cards. I think he does have Force Will, another blue card in his hand, but I don't think he wants to use that on Hypnotorac. We'll see how he wants to set things up.
For those not familiar, I highly recommend checking out the original Arabian Nights Serendipity. Actually, maybe we can just get it up on screen. The original Serendipity, it breaks my heart a little bit, though. It's a sweet card. It's fun. Obviously, it's completely out of color pie, and it's not really what's going on anymore. But the original Serendipity, the artwork, pretty sweet. It's kind of like, it's just crazy, but unfortunately, Anson Maddox, none of his art gets reprinted because he's one of the original artists who was under an old deal and never wanted to re-sign under a deal that doesn't involve a percentage.
He doesn't have a body.
It's inside the lamp. He's
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, you see what's happening here?
Yeah, it took me a minute. Does he have 2 mouths?
Oh,
new
so
one.
this Serendipity is actually a misprint. It was in Revised. They accidentally printed Serendipity with a green border and the artwork to If Biffafreet. It was a rinky-dink operation back then, you know.
The more you know.
Yeah. What's interesting, though, is that the Summer Magic, the UK version of Revised, featured the correct Serendipity with the correct border, but it featured Hurricane with the wrong border. It actually had Hurricane with a blue border, which is among the most valuable cards in all of Magic. It's
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
Hey, Magic's a collectible game.
It is.
Part of what makes it so valuable is that the cards were supposed to be destroyed. They were never supposed to actually be released, so there's a very small number of boxes that were out in circulation.
Brainstorm and Pin the Needle are the cards that go away off of the hymn. Rutherford's going to draw a card. That was pretty good. Does he have something to put? I don't think he has anything to put into play.
No. No, he's just hanging out, getting beat down. Now it's going to be a while, but he needs to find. I mean, he's got show and tell. He doesn't have a blue card to protect, with his Force of Will. But if he can get a Grizzlebrand or an Emrakul, he's in real good shape. Obviously, there's some things Wing could possibly have, but priority number 1 is finding a monster.
Another copy of Hypnotorac going to be cast here by James. That was a top deck, and it was a really, really good one.
This is real strong.
Yeah. Brad may have to consider. I mean, he doesn't want to counter it, of course, because his 2 cards are Force 1 blue cards, and show and tell.
What would be better, Hymn to Turok or Mind Twist in Legacy?
Like, better for the health of the format?
Stronger. Which would be stronger? Like, if they unbanned Mind Twist, what would see more play, Hymn to Turok or Mind Twist?
My gut reaction is Mind Twist.
You think so?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because it's Mind Twist.
Maybe. People said the same thing about Vintage, though. It didn't really work out.
That's true.
Mind Twist used to be the most feared card in Vintage. It was banned. It was actually banned for power level reasons, even though Ancestral Recall and Black Lotus were allowed. But we live in different times. You know that? You can play with 4 Mind Twists now in Vintage.
Actually, I did not know that. Brad drew a Ponder for the turn, considering casting it here.
Yeah. The interesting thing, if he does not cast it, though, is that he can just cast Force of Will. But he decides, who cares? Let's just do it.
I think he's got to be a little bit more proactive at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't want to sit around just getting his hand ripped apart.
Yeah, and just like leave him a counter spell. He's looking at Sneak Attack and a couple other cards. And we know he has a land in his hand, so he could just leave Sneak Attack on top, draw Sneak Attack, and just put it directly into play. But
He is opting to draw a blue card, though.
Gitaxian Probe.
And it looks like it's Gitaxian Probe potentially into a Spell Pierce.
He's going to cast Probe. Let's see what Nguyen has. We didn't play land last turn, so...
Yeah, no green mana, but he does have access to Deathrite Shaman and has a land in his own graveyard, so he does have green mana in a pinch.
You know, average hand.
This is pretty good. Jace the Mind Sculptor is obviously better than all, and then 2 Force of Wills means that Nguyen has at minimum 1, usually generally 2 levels of protection against any kind of sneak attack shenanigans. Nguyen on the hunt for some mana, and it looks like he did find he did find a dual land. It is another Underground Sea, though, so not the green mana he was looking for, but at least he's making forward progress. If he wants, he can just cash in his chips and cast Jace the Mind Sculptor. What do you think about that?
It's okay.
I mean, he could Force a Will with the Shardless Agent to protect it, and then as long as he's just not dead, I mean, when he Jaces, he can 0 and try to find another blue card.
He's just going to pass it away. He's going to play really, really conservative here.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's got Rutherford really behind the gun. You know, Rutherford taking 4 a turn because this Deathrite Shaman is putting some serious life loss pressure on as well. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like, I mean, I guess he just wants to wait till he has, you know, an extra blue card so he can cast both Force of Wills for sure. But he also just doesn't want to walk face first into that Spell Pierce, which, you know, the way that Rutherford's hand actually is, it's a pretty good move.
Yeah, it could actually end up happening. Brad contemplating right now if he does want to play Sneak Attack or not. And, I mean, he's going to have to pay 2 to do so, so it looks like he's going to get on to 11. Now there is Sneak Attack. And now here's Force of Will from James. We'll see what blue card he wants to remove. He's got a couple options there, and another Force of Will, a Shardless Agent, and a Jace. You saw him immediately put Force of Will on the table, saying, I'm definitely going to try to counter that. I'm just deciding what blue card I want to remove. I think he's a little bit reluctant to remove Jace to this. I think he might just go with Shardless Agent. Now he's considering Jace. So going back and forth, it's definitely not going to be Force of Will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's just weighing right now of if we have another fight, or if we don't have another fight, which card do I want to cast next turn? Yeah, so he's going to go with Jace, which will be exiled to Force of Will. Of course, I'll have to lose one to do it. Here's Force of Will, Spell Pierce. So Brad's out of cards. And the big question is James okay with maybe just saying, okay, that's fine, which I can't imagine he is.
Yeah, the problem is that then your counterspell doesn't do anything because the Sneak Attack is, you know, its activated ability is basically uncounterable in this situation.
So Brad is without any cards in his hand. Deathrite's going to remove an instant from the graveyard. Rutherford's going to go down to 8. There goes Show and Tell. Nguyen's going to untap and take a draw here. Don't know what the mystery card is. We know the card in his hand is Abrupt Decay. It's another copy, I think, of Force Will for James. That's not going to help. In for 2 comes the Shardless Agent. Brad's going to go down to 6. And Brad only gets one more draw this turn. And probably for this game, because James is going to remove Force of Will. Rutherford's going to go down to 4. Shardless Agent will make it 2. And Deathrite, because Deathrite is really, really good, is going to deal the last 2 points of damage, I imagine. And what I think we're going to see here is our #1 overall seed, James Nguyen, who has not lost a match yet this weekend, move on to the finals. You see Brad's going to tap the Ancient Tomb, do it himself. James Nguyen wins this match over Brad Rutherford, 2-1. Shardless Bug takes down Sneak and Show, and James Nguyen is on his way to the finals here with Shardless Bug.
Yeah, definitely an impressive showing. I mean, this is a challenging matchup. You know, it's definitely anybody's game, but it is one in which Nguyen was slightly behind from sitting down. I mean, he did get to go first, but it's definitely a challenging matchup, and he managed to pull it off.
Yeah, things get a lot better after sideboard for James, and that's why they give you 3 instead of just 1. And Nguyen was able to use those sideboarded cards to his advantage and win the back 2 games. So, congratulations to him. He moves on to the finals, playing the winner of Neil Henley versus Michael Swales. And we'll be heading back to the booth here for just a